Hello everybody. Happy Friday night. Welcome to my Zen Den. Let's put those down. Welcome to my Zen Den. My name is Mandy Van Havermit and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up from Grey Eagle, Minnesota. Thanks so much for joining me. I am so happy that every week when you guys tune in and you watch, it really does make my whole week so much better. So thank you so much for joining. Tonight what am I doing? I am going to be playing with some standalone dies that are from the big annual catalog. They're called Wanted to Say dies. They're in the back. They're kind of hidden, but they are so cool. And I'm going to teach you a new technique called the Peekaboo card. So let's flip the camera around and we are going to get stamping right away. Hold on one second. My button is like right under my, there we go. My button is right underneath of my, what do I want to call it? What do I want to call it? Bracket that is holding my phone in. So it's just in a weird spot. Makes it kind of tough. You know, I need a challenge every week. So there we go. Okay, so the Wanted to Say dies. They come in, they are, let's see here. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 dies included in this. And I'm going to show you, they are on page 167 of the annual catalog. So they actually have words. So you're too kind, happy birthday, feel better soon, and celebrate. And then there's a shadow that goes with each set of words. And if you look back on page 35, there's a sample here of some cards that have been made using these dies. So let's get into, I'm actually going to be casing the Stampin' Up catalog. The first idea I have was a card sketch idea. So this is the card we're going to be making using those dies. It was a card sketch idea using this layout, and I thought, oh, well, that's really neat. So we're going to change up the colors just a little bit. Instead of making, this one is made out of Moody Mauve with Pebbled Path writing on, we're going to make the card out of Pebbled Path with some real red. So what you're going to need is an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of Pebbled Path, and that's scored down the middle at 4 1/4. Then you're going to need a 5 by 3 3/4 panel of Pebbled Path. You're going to need a scrap of real red, and you're going to need a scrap of basic white. These dies, their best friends are the adhesive sheets. And if you're not familiar with the adhesive sheets, oh my gosh, they are some of my favorite things. They come in a pack like this. So they're 6 by 12 sheets. There's 12 in a pack. They really do last quite a long time if you can serve them and use them for the intended purposes, which are like these fine dies and things like that. They're phenomenal. So I've got a piece of that to go with my real red. And then I've got some cardstock, some designer series paper. I'm going to cut 2 strips of this, 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So I've got these 2 pieces. They are different patterns on each side. If you have a particular way you want them to sit, go ahead and be mindful of that. And then I'm going to cut them both together at the same time. So there's 1 3/4. Set that aside. And we're going to cut it at 4 3/4. So I've got this little bit of scrap here. Okay. Now I am going to keep them together right together. And then I'm going to slide them in, and I'm going to cut at 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut them both at 1.5 inches, and it looks like 3 1/4 inches. Okay. So what that does, and if you use coordinating cardstock, it's so fun to do this. So I'm going to use those sides because that's what I like. And then let's see, this one is going to go right there, and this one is going to go right there. Is that not the coolest thing ever? So I would advise you to use glue. The reason being, you've got a little bit of wiggle room with the glue to get them perfectly straight. Just don't use so much that it squishes out. So this should have roughly 1/8 inch border. So just line it up, 1/8 inch on each side. just like that. And now the other long one is going to go on top. And I love this Pebbled Path. I think it is like the coolest of the end colors. It is like the best neutral color ever. It coordinates so nice with gray granite. It's got kind of like a dirt, it's kind of a taupey gray. So it's kind of a brown gray. I think it's just the coolest thing ever. All right, so going to fold and burnish my card base here. And then I will put that on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bump it up with some dimensionals. I just like the looks of it with the dimensionals on there. It does take a significant amount of dimensionals though when you're bumping up a whole entire card panel. Just saying, but the result is so worth it. And so you can decide which way you want it. I'm going this way because that's how I'm feeling right now. All right. So there's our card base ready to go. Let's cut out some words. Okay, so I'm going to use happy birthday again. I could be doing yours too kind, or I could be doing celebrate, but I'm going to do happy birthday because I need some masculine birthday cards. So I'm going to grab the open one, and I'm going to do that on white. I'm going to do real red for don't take it all apart. Do as I say, don't say do as I do sometimes, right? Okay, so we're going to take it. This is how I found the best way to do it, because otherwise, if you just seen, I stuck my finger on the sticky part and it is significantly sticky. Ironic, right? So then I just peel it off as I'm, and that saves from losing the adhesive. And I am super frugal with my adhesive sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of here, and then I'm going to put this little piece back in to my real red pack, because I'll be able to use that somewhere. That's some good adhesive right there. All right, so we're going to put it onto our stamp and cut and emboss machine. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, just like that. So we'll send it through the machine. Don't let it move like mine just did. There we go. It's so much happier now. Okay. So we're going to take that off and that off. All right. So the big shadow piece comes off really easy. The piece that is the more fine words tends to be, especially when you've got the adhesive sheet on there, tends to be a little tougher, but definitely not hard at all. I just like to go through and poke out. This one especially is super easy to poke out all the insides. If they don't come out, don't worry, because they will come off when you peel it. So we'll peel off that backing. And if you notice, happy comes off by itself. So if you wanted to put happy and then stamp another word, you could totally do that. So we're just going to line it up. Get this out of there. I got a stray. There we go. Okay, it popped out. There we go. So there's happy. Isn't that striking? Oh, I love it. And we struggle with masculine birthday cards, don't we? I don't know why, but sometimes we just do. So this would be a great masculine birthday card based on just changing up the colors and things like that. With the Pebbled Path and the real red would be a really nice masculine birthday card. Okay, so we're just going to peel that adhesive backing off again and stick it straight down. There we go. Perfect. Isn't that just cool? I love it. I love it. Okay, let's put it on our, oh my goodness. That is exactly what I was going for too. I love that. We're going to bump that up again. It will be a little thick. I don't, here's my professional opinion, because I do know a thing or two. I don't think it's going to be too thick to mail. Because the foam dots are pretty forgiving. So I don't think it'll be too thick to put through the mail. If you don't want to put the foam dots on one layer or the other though, feel free to leave some out. Ah, awesome. Let's grab, I've got these, which I can't remember the name. I think they're in color 2023 to 2025 in color enamel dots. Let's put some of those on. We're going to use the Pebbled Path ones. Kind of do a little bit monotone. Both of my cards tonight are a little on the monotone side. I must be feeling monotone today. I like monotone though, because if you're ever struggling to make a, like, pick out colors, monotone, you can't go wrong, right? Perfect. All right, so there is the first card. If you want to take a screenshot of that. I love it. It's so simple, right? And then you just stamp a nice sentiment on the inside and you're all set. Okay, so now the second card is going to be a Peekaboo card. Okay, really not a lot of product going on here. I'm going to be using a basic white note card, and the basic white note cards, I overlook them a lot. The cards end up being 3.5 by 5, which is the smallest for mailing, so you can mail these cards in the United States, but they come in a pack of 20 envelopes and 20 note cards. So they're so handy. If you're low on space, consider using the note cards. They come in white, basic white, and they come in very vanilla. And then there's also the craft ones. So I'm going to be using a basic white note card, and that's already pre-scored and ready for us to go. I've got a piece of basic white that is 2.5 by 5. So it's going to lay right onto that note card there. And then I've got a scrap of basic black, and I've already got my adhesive sheet on the back of that. And I've got a couple other scraps that had, I literally, like I said, I hoard these. This is a piece of Poppy Parade, and this is a piece of Shaded Spruce. Let me think about that for a second. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to fold and burnish my card. And then I'm going to open it back up, okay? And you're going to want to use, I had a nice new plate. And when I went to cut my stuff just a second ago, I'm like, I don't have a new plate here. Where did it go? I don't want to use an old plate though. And there's a reason for that, because I want to use a plate that's relatively nice. So I'm going to actually be using, this is a blue plate. It's another brand, but it's still relatively nice. This one is relatively nice. I don't want to use a plate that's all chewed up like this, because when I run that through my Big Shot or my cut and emboss machine, it's going to leave that icky, yucky, chewed up kind of impression on there. So what I want to do is use a nice, fairly clean impression. So I'm going to put my nice cleanish plate down, okay? And so now my card is going to close like that. I'm going to place this strip on like that, and I'm roughly 1/8 of an inch away from the fold right there. And I'm going to grab the Feel Better Soon die, and that's the card I'm going to make. So this is the one that's got the writing. This is like the shape. So I'm going to set that right on there, and I'm going to run 2 pieces of paper through, 2 pieces of cardstock through at the same time. It's going to keep them all nice and lined up, okay? So put my top plate on and very carefully run it through the cut and emboss machine. And I'm only running it partway through because I don't want to, like I said, I just don't want to get this all marred up and everything like that. So when I take that off, we're going to carefully remove all the pieces. And I want all of it removed. There we go. And I want to be mindful, this little piece right here is going to pop out of my top card. I need that piece, okay? This is the piece that goes right in that spot right there. It's not the end of the world if you lose that piece. This we are not going to use, so that's, go ahead and throw that out. So now I've got my cut and emboss machine, or my cut and emboss sandwich, and I'm going to use the distressed tile. This is from the new catalog, the new mini catalog that just went live this week. Be mindful, this one is a directional one, so be mindful that you've got the pieces lined up, and I'm going to emboss this little scrap also that goes right there. So, all right. So this is a 3D embossing folder, so I need my plate number 1, my plate number 4, and my embossing folder, and I will run that through the cut and emboss machine. And I should tell you that I'm casing this from and one of our artisan design team members. Her name is Monique DeKok. She is from the Netherlands. So she did a card like this, and I just thought it was the neatest thing ever. Okay, one more run through the cut and emboss machine. I am going to take the Feel Better Soon, the words, and I'm going to run that through. Look at that. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, I'm going to run that through. It's already got my adhesive sheet on there. So let's run that through the cut and emboss machine one last time. All right, so I don't know about you, but I don't put my thing on a, it's meant to fit on my take your pick tool, but then I'd have to take this out, and I don't like to do that. So I just use it little. I don't use it super often enough that it matters all that much. So, okay. So we're gonna poke out our extra little pieces that don't belong. I love black and white cards. They are so beautiful. Okay, so I never showed you what I'm making, did I? Here's the card I'm making, and I think I will use that, do that flower again. There are other options to do other than that, but that's what we're going to do this time as well. So we are going to, here again, use glue so you've got enough wiggle room, and we're going to line that up back onto our card. Okay, so we'll grab our glue. And be mindful not to use too much, but to use enough. So don't want it squishing out the sides though. Okay, and here's why I like the glue, because now I've got a little bit of wiggle room to get that lined up absolutely perfectly. And just so you know, this card is 16-year-old boy approved. My son came down while I was creating it, and he goes, "That's really cool. How did you do that?" I said, it's magic. And then he kind of rolled his eyes at me, which I don't understand, but whatever. Okay, so now we're going to put our little, let's see. Yep, it goes this. Which way does it go? Which way does it go? Okay, it goes this way. It's hard to tell whenever in such a little spot. Okay, so put that in. And if, like I said, if you don't do this little teeny tiny spot right here, not the end of the world. Your card will turn out fine. I just noticed that it was there, and so I wanted to do it. Okay, So now we've got that already. So I'm going to take the adhesive off the back. And I'm literally just centering it. I've closed the card and I'm centering it on that just like that. So now it's pressed down, and so when you open the card, it's right there. Isn't that just the coolest thing? It's like magic. I love magic. Okay, so there's a few pieces extra dies. There's some stars, some hearts, a gift, and then some flower. So we're going to do the flower. I'll pull in my cut and emboss machine. This is actually a really quick card, guys. This does not take that long at all. If you didn't want to, it's just a little bit too small. One moment, please. I almost had an accident. Knocked my water over. So bad. Okay, I've got my shaded spruce there. Let's pull out my scraps. So I'm just going to put this whole scrap on there. Have I ever told you how much I love adhesive sheets? Seriously, I love them. And I could get by without using an adhesive sheet with the flower head, but I'm not going to because it just makes life that much easier. So let's run that through. I have a friend was crafting with, and she's like, you throw your, I will toss my things sometimes. It works better when there's not a adhesive sheet being used, but I'll toss them to get them out of the dies. And she's like, that doesn't work. I'm like, try it. And she, lo and behold, she tries, she's like, oh my gosh, how have I not known that? It was awesome. So there we go. We throw craft supplies. We don't really throw them. We just toss them gently. Okay, put them down so we don't lose them. Just like that. And like that. And I love these bright colors with the black and white. That is so beautiful. All right, let's grab, I'm going to use the same in color dots, and I'm taking a wild wheat, and I'm just going to put that as the center of the flower because that is just perfect. So that's card number 2. So simple, right? And then you can write your little note in there, and it looks so nice. Make sure you use, like I said, try to use a nicer, newer plate. So these are my 2 cards for tonight, and I'll show you that there. I'm in love with these dies. They're called, again, they're called the Wanted to Say dies. Really a good value. So I'm going to flip my camera around. I got a few things to talk about. Thanks, LeVar. I just want to remind you of a few different things. Registration for the paper share is open right now. There it is. For the paper share is open right now. It's open until next Friday. $45, and you get a quarter pack of each of the papers from the new mini catalog. It is a really good deal, and there are some really, really cool papers in there. The other thing is Stamp Camp in Sauk Center next Saturday, 9 to noon at the First Lutheran Church. If you can make it, I would love for you to do that. One more thing. Oh, registration for Taco Fiesta class with Melrose Community Education in Melrose, Minnesota is open until next Friday. Registration closes next Friday. The class is actually on the 25th of September. My months are not clicking in my head here. 25th of September is the class. You need to sign up by the 15th of September, and that is through the Melrose Community Education. So that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed these cards, and I will see you back here again next Friday night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.